fought in the homeland of the USSR, Germans facing the Red Army. This is the Battle of Kursk. The German Eastern Front, codenamed Operation Citadel, has pushed up through western USSR and is now waiting for orders from command to commence the attack on Kursk. The Germans had a master plan, to use a pincer formation to cut off Kursk from the rest of the Soviet Union in a surprise attack. But the Red Army had other ideas. They had been expecting this attack for months now and had been sending troops and setting up defenses, making the Kursk salient an impenetrable fortress. On July 5, 1943, the Germans began their offensive push. They pushed long and hard through minefields and heavy artillery, but they were not expecting the Kursk fortress. The Soviets' impenetrable defensive line consisted of a layered front, with wall upon wall of defenses including pillboxes, barbed fields, and bunkered tanks. The Germans' northern front was doing little to nothing, trying to break through the lines to get to Kursk. The southern front, on the other hand, had pushed up all the way to a small town called Obayan, a mere 30 miles from Kursk. However, the Germans were hampered by bad weather. Even the next day, when the skies were clear, the terrain was still mucky and the Germans could not advance. The Red Army took this opportunity to try and get a sneak attack on the Germans using their air force, but the Luftwaffe scrambled just in time. What the Red Army thought would be an easy skirmish turned into an all-out air battle, with over 400 planes fighting on the 20-mile front.
A few days into the German offensive, the fronts were far behind, with only one of 3 commands on schedule, and one terribly behind. The northern front of the German offensive, which had reached Paneri, were in a stalemate with the Red Army. The Germans had considered pulling back because of heavy casualties, and the war front was thinning out to a mere mile, but they decided to keep pushing through the lines of defenses, as they had already broke through the first line and were now trying to break through the second one. The Russian third line of defense was very thin to start with, and the Red Army had to call in more troops. They brought in the 5th Army Tank Corps and the 5th Army. The Germans were so focused on breaking the Kursk front that the Red Army had time to set up a counterattack, surrounding the German forces. On July 12th, the Germans were on the verge of a breakthrough at Kursk, but the 5th Army was called in and the German push was halted again. The next few days, the Allied troops on the Western Front had taken Sicily, and Hitler had Operation Citadel called off. The German force was already planning one more push, but the Red Army's counteroffensive was already in action. This would be the last time the German forces would be on the offensive on the Eastern Front, with the Red Army beating them back through Soviet territory for 2 years until they took Berlin.